Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you 3 unique vocal reverb effects. So we're going to be exploring some cool, unique, but also kind of fun reverb effects, so things you can do to your reverb to make them stand out. But before we dive in here, if you're ready to take your vocal mixes to the next level and really start perfecting your EQ strategy, then I have just the thing for you. It is my ultimate guide to vocal EQ, and it's just a simple PDF that will walk you through how to EQ your vocals step by step to help you get polished and professional sounding vocal mixes without any more of the guesswork. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and look at this vocal and make some fun, unique reverb effects. So let me play you the finished mix here so you can hear what our vocal's currently sounding like inside the track.
Chasing her around, but I can't pin this little.
So you can hear it's the usual reverb I use on vocals, which is a CLA plate reverb. So it's a reverb that I took from Chris Lord Algae. It's about a 2-second plate reverb with a 152 millisecond pre-delay, and then just an EQ after it rolling off the top end and a lot of the bottom end here to make sure it's not too heavy or too muddy sounding. What we're going to do is we're going to take this bass reverb and we're going to mess with it a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to nuke this reverb here just so we're not duplicating a whole bunch of the same reverbs. And I'm going to create a new bus channel right here. We're going to call it distortion. So you can kind of guess what our first effect is going to be. And we'll send this into our mix A. And I'm going to copy over that reverb setting that we started with. So we're going to use the same starting point from reverb here. But all we're going to do is we're going to mess with each one a little bit. So starting with the same reverb here, we'll turn off the CLA plate reverb, and we're going to send to the dist verb here. So now what we're going to do after our reverb here is we're going to distort it. And we're going to distort before and after and see which one we like better. So we'll actually start before and see what we like. So we'll get a distorted vocal and then we'll push it into the reverb. And we'll start using just the reverb here.
Running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragon down. She gives me half of a sign, she wants me in her life, but I can't help thinking that I'm wasting her time. I'll never be the man she needs, so I'll say my calls and be a memory. Yeah, running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragon down. She gives me half of a sign, she wants me in her life, but I can't help thinking that I'm wasting her time. I'll never be the man she needs, so I'll say my calls and be a memory. Chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragon down. She gives me
That sounded pretty cool, right? Kind of like a lo-fi reverb style effect. You can see, for me at least, it sounds better. It sounds cleaner before the reverb. After the reverb, it gets a little too crazy and a little too distorted and out there sounding. It's a little uncontrolled. Before the reverb, you can get your distortion right, then get your reverb right, and make sure everything works as a package there. So now we have this kind of lo-fi sounding reverb. Let's mix this in with our vocal here and see what we get. Chasing her around, but I can't pin this
this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign. She wants me.
So what a distorted reverb like this gives you, or a distorted signal going into a reverb gives you, is a very, very even vocal coming out of your reverb, because we have our finished vocal sound, and then it's running through a distortion plugin, so it's compressed even more. So it's like a solid block of vocal going into our reverb. So it's very, very even. It doesn't move around a lot. It's not going up and down. And it gives us a lot of emphasis on the mid-range, which is what I want from my reverb a lot of the time. I don't want a lot of high end. I don't want a lot of bottom end. I want that mid-range focus. And that's what a distorted reverb is going to give you. So that's our first one there. One more time. We'll take a listen through that.
Running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign. She wants me in her life, but I can't help thinking that I'm wasting her time.
Now, the second one we're going to do here is actually a duplication of the vocal. So I'm going to take the vocal track here and I'm going to completely duplicate it. We're going to nuke the send to the dist verb here, because we don't need the dist verb at the moment. We're going to do something else here. And I'm going to solo up our secondary vocal here. We probably don't need the processing at the moment. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to transpose it up and octaves. So let's take a listen here now to our vocal up an octave.
Running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign. She wants me in her life, but I can't help thinking that I'm wasting her time. I'll never be the man she needs, so I'll say my calls and be a memory. Yeah, running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign. She wants me in her life, but I can't help thinking that I'm wasting her time. I'll never be the man she needs, so I'll say my calls and be a memory. Yeah, running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down.
So just tweaked the processing there on the vocal, still left the compressor in, just moved our high pass up a little bit, just so we're focusing on that top end range. We didn't need low mid cuts because all we have left is low mid area there. Now, we're going to copy over the reverb, and we'll copy over the EQ as well, and we'll get this to sit where we want it. And we don't need any sends on this one because this is going to be our actual reverb, and we'll color it white, and we'll call it octverb, so octave verb. So let's take a listen to this now and tweak the reverb. So that's pretty wicked sounding, right? So let's mix this in now with our lead vocal and see what we have.
Running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign. She wants me in her life, but I can't help thinking that I'm wasting her time. I'll never be the man she needs, so I say my calls and be a memory. Yeah, running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign. She wants me in her life, but I can't help thinking that I'm wasting her time. I'll never be the man she needs, so I'll say my calls and be a memory. Yeah, running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign.
You can hear it there right in the background. You hear the subtleness of the octave poking through, and you hear that bright mid-rangey reverb, right? There's no bottom end left to it. It's all mid-range, all high mid area that we're emphasizing on the reverb there. And you notice I had to flip to stereo here, so we had a stereo reverb. Now when I do this, I like to combine it with the original reverb I had in the track.
Running and running, I've been chasing her around, but I can't pin this little dragging down. She gives me half of a sign.
So that's number 2. Now number 3 is kind of working the same way we did here with the octave verb. So we're duplicating our track here. So we have a complete duplication of our track. It's going to be regular here though. So we'll switch out the processing at the beginning here. So go back to our normal EQ and all of that. So we don't need that. We'll pull back in our original processing because it's not an octave vocal anymore. And then we'll copy over our reverb as well as our EQ. Now it's just our normal vocal with the reverb on the end of it. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this vocal track and we're going to move it forward. Ooh, I don't know, a 16th note here. So we're going to drag this vocal just forward a 16th note. So now our vocal, our reverb is coming off of a vocal that is a 16th note early. So we don't need our original reverb. We don't need our octave verb here. Let's take a listen to this. So this is our original vocal moved a 16th note earlier and then sending into the reverb here. So that's this guy here, and we're going to call it ear verb for early verb, if I can spell correctly. All right, so let's mix this in now with our original vocal. So what this gives you is the illusion that our reverb is there ahead of our vocal. So it's kind of like this lushness flooding into your lead vocal part, right? You have that bigness from the reverb and it's kind of swelling into each vocal line. So these are our 3 effects here. Let's go through them one more time now, one at a time. So we have our dist verb. We have our octave verb. You can see I edited those backwards. Our octave verb there, and then we have our early reverb. So let's go through these one at a time now. So we'll start with the dist verb, and then we'll add in our octave verb, and we'll add in our ear verb. So we'll add all of them in together now. Reverb effects that you can use to help your vocal stand out. One is a distorted reverb, so distorting your vocal going into the reverb. Number 2, duplicating your vocal and putting an octave up to send into the reverb. So an octave up reverb. And then our last one was duplicating your vocal, moving it a 16th note early, and then sending it into your reverb. 3 unique reverb effects to make your vocal stand out. Give each of them a shot. They're very, very cool, and they're a lot of fun to try. I hope that was helpful for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to level up your vocal mixes and really start dialing in an EQ workflow for all your vocal mixes, then you need to download my ultimate guide to vocal EQ. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description to start creating more professional vocal mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.